One of the great things about working with Bitcoin is that you have a chance to do business with people around the world, and in the ideal sense, the way Satoshi Nakamoto put it together, we could exchange rapidly for low cost. Well, we've seen Bitcoin itself get a little bit rough in that area. Bitcoin Cash is now giving us a lot of capabilities. And to talk about that and where we're going with this whole wonderful world of cryptocurrencies, we've got the man himself, Rick Falkvinge, who is jokingly called the CEO of Bitcoin Cash. He's joining us now from his offices over there in Berlin, Germany. Rick, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks so much for inviting me, Terry. It's an honor to be on.
It is great to have you here. Always good to hear you. I love the material that you have, the way that you communicate. And one of the things I want to talk about today, there was a lot of fun. You were jokingly called the CEO of Bitcoin Cash. And I remember you were on, I believe it was Russian TV, RT, and they interviewed you as the CEO of Bitcoin Cash. Tell us a little bit about why you can call yourself that, and then also what it means and what that has as implications for the whole concept behind Bitcoin Cash.
I'd love to, Terry. The thing about doing so is going a little bit back to Ayn Rand and thinking, not who's going to allow me to do something, but who's going from doing something. And once you have that attitude, you can do exactly what was done with the Bitcoin ABC client and Amory Séché, who waited for nobody, asked nobody's permission, just said, I have this client, I think it's good. Anybody who wants to join me is welcome to do so. In that way, anybody can call themselves a CEO. And I wanted to demonstrate that we don't ask permission. This society, this community, does not wait for permission to do something. If we want to see something happen, there's nobody out there to stop us, and we can just do it. And the best way to demonstrate this is not by telling people, but by doing. And in this way, where everybody has freedom of initiative and freedom to follow, you're gaining influence by taking an initiative and inviting people to follow you. And everybody has these two freedoms, freedom of initiative and freedom to follow. Mm-hmm. This means creating a community which is not built on coercion and telling people what they may not or what they must do, but just telling people that everybody can do what they want, and that is why we work. And once you realize how well this works, it just comes together.
Exactly. It's the whole idea of you do anything you want as long as you take responsibility for what you do and you do not harm another person. And so you're not initiating that force or coercion. And I think it's a good principle to have. Well, another thing that we see going on right now in the world is we're going through some rather tumultuous times. I think that's an understatement, with cryptocurrencies fluctuating up and down, and we can live by coinmarketcap.com, which we really shouldn't. They're a great site. I love them, but we shouldn't be tied to it. But tell us what's going on and how we can live in the midst of such a roller coaster turbulence that's happening.
To be honest, it's just another week in crypto. It's important to remember that for a lot of people, this correction or this downturn of the market is the first time they've seen crypto markets go down at all. But if you went into Bitcoin in 2011, which I did quite publicly at the time and was promptly called an idiot by the Bitcoin community for doing so, you can observe that Bitcoin and crypto in general, I'm using Bitcoin as a general term now, is taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And when you're replacing steps with orders of magnitude in market cap, you can observe that it went from about 30 cents to about $30, down to $2.50, up to $25, and so on. And now you have a bull run, which started at about $200 and has gone up to $20,000. So if you're looking at previous patterns, this might fall to 2,000. It might fall to any random number, basically. The entire cryptocurrency market is so volatile that you can't really predict it. Predicting next week's prices is kind of predicting next week's lottery numbers. If anybody tells you they can do it, you should not trust them, because nobody can do this. However, Bitcoin, and by Bitcoin, I mean cryptocurrency in a much wider context here. specifically including Bitcoin BCH, which I think carries on the legacy of the Satoshi Nakamoto white paper, is really in its infancy. I mean, it carries so much promise of just leapfrogging banking technology. The first time I used it in 2011, it felt like I jumped 40 years into the future, because I sent the value of about 50 cents to a friend on the other side of the planet on a Sunday, and they had the money instantly. But where are we going with this? Well, banks are catching up. They're not dumb. So we're changing the world doesn't happen by itself. It's hard work ahead here.
Yep, that's true. It does take work, and we're seeing a lot. And speaking of that, I want to kind of conclude on any ideas and advice that you might give someone, because sometimes we get a little bit overwhelmed. We see all that's going on with crypto, and we've got to learn about Bitcoin, and then there's all these other coins we need to learn about, and then hard forks and SegWits and all this funny terms that are in there. What would you recommend for someone who's sometimes a little bit overwhelmed? They're in it, they know a little bit, but they want to go forward, and they want to operate on this in business, in their daily life. What advice would you give to that person?
You know, it's hard because it depends so much on where they are, what they want to accomplish. This is a technology, like any technology, you can use it in a multitude of ways. But there are resources where you can get started quickly if you're going to use it for personal use. There are apps for most phones today where you can use Bitcoin Cash wallets or other coin wallets. The one advice I would give in general is that, as with any land grab market, there is a lot of people who are out for your wallet and don't have your best interests at heart. So there is a lot of scams going on. There's a lot of just bad business going on. People who want you to invest in their business that has a thing going for it. But as long as you're just wanting a good, sound money, then a Bitcoin Cash wallet is going to serve you very, very well.
That makes sense. A nice wallet. And of course, you can get that here at Bitcoin.com. You go in there, look for the wallet, get it. I'm using it myself, and it's working very nicely. And we'd recommend that. Well, Rick, how can people get in touch with you if they say, hey, I like this Rick Falkvinge guy. He's got a lot of wisdom. And by the way, he really does. I can tell you, I know this guy. And he is smart. He's got integrity. He's a great guy. You want to get to know him. How can they find out more about what you're doing and stay in touch?
Well, thanks for the kind words, Terry. The advantage of having a globally unique name, these 9 letters, Falkvinge, nobody else has that name on the planet. And it's frankly enough to mention me anywhere on Twitter or on any web page, and I will notice. So I'm very easy to get in touch with that name that way. Just mention my name somewhere, and I will see that mention. The easiest way, of course, would be Twitter or just sending a mail to me, for that matter. I have the domain falkvinge.net, and sending to any address at falkvinge.net will reach me.
Very good. All right. Well, we appreciate you joining us right now. Your time over there in Berlin, it's getting pretty close to some time for a wonderful German beer. And I realize I'm being redundant there. Wonderful German beer. They make some wonderful beers over there. So enjoy one for us. Rick, we really appreciate you being with us today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for the invite.
And for those of you joining us, you've got an opportunity to learn. This man really knows his stuff. He's been around for a long time. He's worked with computers and technology. He's worked with Bitcoin a lot. He's got a lot of wisdom. Tap into that. I found in life, one of the keys for success is you find good people and you go, oh yeah, that one right there. And the beauty of the internet today, we can follow them. Literally on Twitter and on the various social media out there. Rick Falkvinge is one who you want to find out about. Do that. Do yourself a treat. And sometime later on, you're going to smile and go, thank you, Terry, for introducing us to Rick. So thank you for being with us today. I'm Terry Brock, and I'm here with you to help you solve problems, to understand what's going on here as we do this at Bitcoin.com TV. Thanks for joining us today. We'll look forward to seeing you again.